Now another situation where we end up in the same exact position. So more like a rolling back take situation. So here they have a super hook. I will fall, and now the key is that they do this and take seat belt, and this happens. Yeah. So it can happen. This me falling down on my hip can happen. Maybe you want to shrimp. Maybe you want to catch them, or maybe they anticipate that move and roll. So that kind of can happen from the mount also. Somebody has an ankle in. Rolling back takes pretty well used things today. People are crab rides and all those things. So one more time. So here, super hook. Let's go. And I control the leg already. There's no seat belt like you see. I can mess with the hook already here. And I have this. So let's do it one more time. So all those things can. I'm not going to show you against this move again, the hook and everything. So I'll make it 3 clips. But we do that again. Pause again, so you will see what happens. So just all those things are important. So if you do this and that, then you get more in trouble. So here I will go. So they want underhook. Yeah, go. I control the leg. Yeah, wait. And here the hook is not possible yet, but if they now stretch me with a hook because they have to, because that allows them to shrimp, that allows me to do this. And now actually I can go invert back, but invert and escape the other way, like Granbys and stuff, or I decide today I end up here and in my position, and even I can deny them having underhook. It's even better, yeah? So there's no kind of good chokes even, and no threats of seat belts, and I can just turn around and escape. So those kind of, it is a little bit, we can talk about it now, because at first it might have looked a little bit unrealistic that, who takes the back, hook is in and no seat belt, what kind of situation is this? But actually those situations without the underhook, they happen when they attack the hip first, like a rolling back takes. They go from truck and all those things. Maybe I can do they make some mistakes. And then I can deny them climbing up underhooks. So then they only have a hook, maybe even both, but not the seatbelt. So those positions are also important to cover. And then other end is, I guess we showed that with the seatbelt, and they attack that. But so those without the seatbelt situation are not unrealistic, so to speak, and they happen. And so your job is to be aware, this, that, hooks, clearing, go invert. So there's a lot of stuff there also. So keep that in mind, study them further, go deeper, because I don't think I can show you all the options here. Kind of like a broad idea. And depends on your game, what you like. Do you like to go invert and stuff? Some people can't maybe because of the flexibility and stuff. So it's not necessary always. So keep those in mind. And I recommend, like we did with Ronald at the moment, I recommend those still frames, so to speak, that you do the move and you're in a mid-air kind of, you're gonna you think, and then you continue, and then you do it full move. So I think those still frames in the mid-air, they will teach you a lot, because in those moments, the still frame and mid-air moments, the fights are won and lost. Because if the momentum would be bigger, I would just maybe throw myself in that small opening already. He will get his underhook in. And then the situation is way different because he has a seatbelt already. So training those midsection, winning those transitions, and that's the key. And even if you lose, they get a seatbelt, you exactly know why you lost. And next time you try better. So it's okay to lose. Not everything is always perfect, because the sport and momentum's fighting, somebody stronger, So just my point has always been that I don't mind losing, and I teach people to lose, I guess, with my system more. But I always want you to understand why you lost, so you can try to become better. So that's the whole thing. So being aware and losing, I don't see a problem with that. Now more gi stuff. I guess the obvious elephant in the room was when we talked about the choke. What if they change the choke? So this is all like pretty common. I get this also in seminars. So what I mean by that is when we cancel the regular choke, yeah, when we cancel this and we do everything right, then most everybody will go like, what about if I change? Yeah, so they go top, they do this. Yeah, and this is more dangerous because if they get this, or even if they go behind the head, everything is there, and this is way more, you know, and they can put this leg over the shoulder, and everything is kind of good angle for them. So now we have to mess with that a little bit. So, first of all, seatbelt, yeah. So if I do this, let's play. If they want to change, so they have to release this. Yeah. So I can go back. I can control this release. Go. It's actually they have to do this, and I can go. That's my first, yeah. So if they now about we haven't talked about the wrist fight. Now the wrist fight game is very fun. So they want this grip, yeah. Go. So now we have this. I still control the bottom, and I have this. So they want to feed, go feed. They want this. So I do this. So I have this shoulder. Other way, if I do this, wait. If I do this, there's a lot of space I can't cover, yeah. So I make a space smaller using the boxing shoulders and all that. I still have to control, and I can have both ways. So it's a micro games here. Do it again, feed. I can have this, go. I can control with this, and it's super weird to feed because the grips are weak. But it's kind of better to like avoid this arm that's grabbing. So go. And also from the fingers. So not here. They can still grab, and it's not lever is not good. Just fingers. Go. Super weak. Yeah. So that's the game. So first we're gonna prevent this, and then the wrist fight, and I have time to escape. If they get it, go. Now depends the angle. So actually I can go there and there. So we'll see. Right now I turn back. So let's turn. So now what I have to do is this. Now I look to the choke, and choke was already gone. Right now pull. This is you know, here, hook in. And now I clear this hook. They can't really prevent that. And now we have a back escaping scenario, like mount, and I can go that way. I can do a baby bridge, but we just did, pump and put the hell, or there. Or we can go if they pull, and we end up in the other side. And again, my head should not be here, I should be there, so this is not happening, and I'm not giving them underhook. If they want, then the pants are gone. So if I give them underhook, everything kind of gets worse, and they can squeeze, and they can other lapel. So during that transition, I can already prevent this, and rolling out is also easier. Usually they have to grab my bicep outside, because they want to pull the shoulder back. So now I can't turn that well, yeah? And maybe go squeeze, maybe I go back, maybe here, and escape, and everything happens again. So one more time. So first of all, seatbelt. I can also prevent this, you know, this collar. Yeah, go back. So I have this. Go. I can. There's a small fight to be had. So if I give him, do a little bit of sport. Go. I can actually prevent him grabbing the lapel pretty well. It's actually, I do this, and this is always covering. I do this also in Panda. So, well, behind these on a mat. We did this in DVD. I do this, and I prevent him for getting the lapel. So it's the same idea. I don't like this as first. This is good, but this is first, this is second. Cross is second, okay? So if they want to have a seatbelt, so if they want to have I can prevent. If they get a seatbelt, more trouble. I can have to control attachment. If they want to change the choke, go, boom. Wrist fight already, feeding. I do some tricks with a gi. I can just hold, and I have 2 arms left. Usually I do this, yeah? But this is also possible. This is super annoying. They can't feed, and they can't do this, and this is here. If they shrimp, they have to let go. So now everything is free again. So you can do pretty much what you want. Go back. So the knee is, so feet. And now the trick is, usually people do this, and then they get choked, but the key is, here, turn. So I do that boxing shoulder on the other side. Now, this is a game here. Usually people put the hook in. I can prevent that. And now I have this, there's no hooks. You know, it's pretty much free. Usually this gets in. I don't want this, I want it between my legs. So, and now I have to do jiu-jitsu. One place, turn. And if they're still pulling, I have this, yeah? I know they're looking for underhook, go underhook. I know they're looking for this, go back. But if they're there, they can't reach because there's a post, go. And now I'm gonna go pull. And now everything is good. So, that is a very easy sequence, like you saw. A very easy sequence. But you understand there's small games there and why I win, why I lose, everything is kind of counted for. And it's actually not that easy. And many times what I do myself, because, you know, even if I explain you all this, it doesn't mean I'm good at everywhere using this, because I still prefer my own timings. I know those things. And let's say against, you know, average purple balls and stuff, I think the timing is pretty okay everywhere. But in a higher level, I still prefer my certain things, yeah? So, but what I usually do is, if they're seatbelt, if they're changing the choke, I just go. Because now, using the boxing shoulder, go for a choke. See what happens? See how they reach? And I just turn out. So that's the timing, you know, I like. And it's not actually that hard, and then they will adapt, and then they're really confused of, you know, grabbing, because every time they let the shoulder go, I'm gone. So it actually makes this double attack super weird. And also the trick is you can go forward with a choke. It's more tricky. I like it. So if they get the choke, if like a couple of key pointers. If your position is not ideal, you have to turn that way and switch the side. Go, wait. Wait. If your position is ideal, if your position is ideal, maybe they have this, yeah? So go for a choke. So now this means that even if they go for a choke, you can go through the chokes. And so if your shoulders are turned enough, it's actually, it's not easy, but it's it's possible to go through the choke, still turn. But again, your shoulders have to be super good, and then you're just out. If you're a little bit off, then this choke turning in, there's a section in the move where you're gonna choke yourself. And not many people are willing to do that at first. So then you have to change, shrimp, and do all those things, yeah? And this sequence takes some time, and you know, then you do it, and now I get choked still, and then you forgot the shrimp, and then you do this. And so you have to watch it again, and again, trying it with less skilled people. But I find, yeah, so now they have pants, whatever they do, go. And then I usually lift the head, because most people want to bring the legs up to pull guard. So if you control the head a little bit, they can't, even flexible people, they can't bring the legs up. And so I have an option maybe to lift them to panda, or if they want, or end up in side control. So this happens. Usually people, let's say, my jiu-jitsu doesn't change, doesn't change so much when I put the gi on or gi. I still want to grab the same positions what I use in no gi and gi. I rarely grab just the gi just to hold on. What I'm trying to say is, if you get really good in no gi here, it doesn't change in a gi so much. It's I know people, there's a warm guards thing and all those things are a little bit like undermining that theory. But I don't know where's the limit of this. But here, example, pretty much, let's say some slack in the theory, but it doesn't change that much. If I do well, it doesn't matter if they're gi or no gi, if they're choking me or not choking me. I do the exact same positions, so it doesn't change. So that I really like, and I like to call it like a fundamental, yeah? And then definitely gi and everything will fix certain things better maybe, but you can do pretty well. And sometimes I travel to seminars, people ask, back escapes, what about the gi and no gi? I was like, it doesn't really matter. And people are usually surprised, what do you mean it doesn't matter? It actually doesn't here. So, but I recommend you to train with a gi because it just makes certain angles better. You understand certain things. It's like a gi is like a half Nelson in no gi world. It just fixes certain angles better. So I really recommend it. And then it's good to know that even a no gi guy, you can defend chokes and you're fine. And you put the gi on and your game doesn't, dissolve to nothing. So that's usually what the legend is, you put the gi on and then people choke you to death or something. So it shouldn't be like that if you learn fundamental jiu-jitsu. Another test we remembered was a test that usually people haven't done this to me, but it also happened in the States. So people, against that posture, it can happen that people will try to attack the calf slicer. So if this is in and the leg is they fish with this. Sorry. They fish with this, and it's not gonna be the prettiest calf slice. I would have to maybe go here, and then maybe they would get the better angle and the calf slice. So another test so it's a good test. How is your position? Because I guess this hook benefits him. This hook and those hook are a benefit for me. And my goal is, if I'm a little bit like this, the hook is kind of long and I can fish, but all my position is out of alignment anyway. So if I keep my butt behind and shoulder forward go, it's not gonna be there. So it's just, if the butt is kind of like this, then they can reach it better. It's kind of annoying, and I guess you can protect it, but yeah, just as a position, go fish. And so it's really, really weird to do. And just to be in mind that I'm all for it, that you have to attack full body. So if you're gonna have a back control, I don't say like, oh, if you have only one hook, put the second hook and then take the back, and maybe in a competition, IBJJF, 4 points. But overall, you have to attack the full body. So if there is a chance to go to armbar, to guillotine, to calf slice, to attack the truck or whatever, so be my guest. The traditional view of just taking the back and getting there, maybe it's not that set in stone. So definitely be mindful that your position works also against that. Just another way of testing. So this is also the way I see those attacks. So there seems to be the trench that I'm kind of talking about all the time, those running mans and all those things are trenches. So those attacks allow us to define the trench with the most detail, and I position my body in a way that all those attacks are not working very well. So the interesting that there seems to be positions where this is possible. So, and your job is to find it out and fine tune it. So good luck. More about the power half. I think in wrestling they call it also half Nelson, but also I guess in jiu-jitsu world the power half. So different terminologies. So what I want to talk about more as a test. So if they get the power, we talked about it. If you are, if you have a bad position, this is very annoying. So I'm going to show you different timing, and some are more like a magic, and some are more realistic. But I have to show you a little bit magic also, because some people also pull it off in a couple of matches. So if they do a power half, so if I'm lucky enough that those hooks are working, so this is out, and if they keep the power half, pull, this happens. And now we have a wrestling, and we have this. And now we have two options. Either, I guess, you have the elbow, because they have right away underhook. So this is super dangerous, I can end up still in a kind of bad position, so elbow helps. But also if I switch, I right away lift my leg. So even if they go to the knees, underhook, go, I have that knee up. So they shouldn't go for a high underhook anyway, they should go lower. But my knee stops, and now I have time to pull this, and they're usually fighting my knee, grabbing this. I have a gap. If they do this, it's kind of bad, they shouldn't, because I, step over the mount and stuff. One more time. So the ending is also very, very important there. So if something happens, so you can't go forward, go. And I can reach with the hook, go back. So I have usually hard time to explaining how pull. And then people do this, and that's bad. But what position, they cannot stop. Even let's say the hook is here, go. They cannot stop this. because I unwind myself actually. I give in to the power half. So if I feel it's already happening, I resist a little bit and this might happen, yeah? And now if they pull, the hooks are out. Super hard to put this top hook in, you know, good open guard grilled chicken. And if they keep pulling, I do a turn. I need the elbow and right away, because I know if I put the weight here, underhook is coming now, yes? See what happens? And then they bump with the knee, and then I'm in a very weird position. So here, as I'm already switching already. Right now it's kind of a little bit harder. I'm already switching. And then this has to be a good click under the butt, knee here. And then this is a safety for underhook. You kill it. I usually don't teach high underhook because that gets you in trouble. So they should attack the knee joint anyway. And the fight is about that. If they catch my knee while my knee is on a mat, they might win more. And if I'm fast, then this slows them enough down so I can get my arm back and we have a, you know, kind of like an even fight. So that's the case. One more time. So some of the options. Also, I guess if you can escape your back more, then this happens. You can slide totally, yeah? And slide your back on the mat. And then we have a leg drag-ish or some situation. Depends what they do, but I can escape this and they lost my hip. And now also this happens. So this, you might, you know, prefer this. But the falling over threat, it's a very awesome threat that they should know that there's there. So they will start to pull differently because, and they will monitor the hooks better. So it's both good for a back taker to understand that there's an option to that defense. And also you can do it with the hooks. With hooks, sometimes it's more difficult if they have half Nelson. So you have to insert the hook right away. Otherwise, if they already pull, and then the hook is here, it's a little bit annoying to kind of pull this. It's a fight a little bit. So this can also happen, yeah? And also, if I'm doing this, and if they succeed, the hook goes in, yeah? So this usually happens, and what you see all the time in, let's say at YouTube, they go back to seatbelt, yeah? And this happens. Well, let's call it in your dreams, yeah? So, because I have an arm here, so if they go for a seatbelt, first of all, this happens, yeah? So this body position, this body position makes the arm go longer, and the lever is getting weaker. So if my head would be here, it's super easy to pull. But if my head would be here, go, even if they pull, it's super, even from here, it's a weird angle to lift because everything is heavy here. And I have this arm also, go, even if they get. And now if they want to connect the arms, go connect. And so this is a fight we're going to have. And without upper body, I have easier time to move. Then, you know, those things can happen. If you like those escapes, I don't know how much we covered them, but this is a good information. And if somebody is good, go for it. I usually like this other way. And then we have this. And this is, so from the kind of like a one hawking to other hawking. And so this is the game that I'm the most vulnerable. I always have a hard time saying that word. I'm the most vulnerable when I'm on my back is towards the mat. Then I'm least mobile. So I'm doing this, doing that. And then if he goes there, then I turn back very close because this makes him create space here too much. And so I kind of fake it and then I turn into that space. So I make him over exaggerate because he wants to do this. It's like I'm making somebody do a guillotine like this. They usually want to have a snap down and very short elbow up. So one more time. So this is the stuff that's why I recommend like rolling with me and working with me, because this is the stuff I can teach, but some of it I'm still discovering I do, and then people ask. So this is very, very important. So hook. So go seatbelt. So here, see what happens? There's a lot of space actually here, because if I would be here, and now it's hard to turn back because they have also my shoulder. So I make him reach, go. And now the space is there. And also I can, you know, go that way, I can spin. Depends a lot of times how he reacts. Is he stubborn towards the back? Wants the side control? There's an open ending there. But those kind of making him over exaggerate his moves, very, very important thing. And they're like everywhere. So I guess I discovered some of them. But that's why also I like to teach, because people ask me questions about it. And then I kind of know what I do myself, because some things are hidden, so to speak. So I hope that helped, because it's a very good attack, power half, and you should be able to deal with that. And add it definitely as attack, add it to your arsenal, and then you know how to also play with that. And as a sport, and then timing and everything, and so we'll see who wins. Kind of saw it actually yesterday also in Reddit. I think somebody asked, what about the side chokes and stuff? So it's part of the program. So I have to explain one more thing, why I emphasize going different way back to the mat. So usually, let's say seatbelt, we have this, I want this angle, yeah? Because the chokes are gone and everything is kind of gone, everything is, I can turn around. I don't emphasize so much going the other way. It's possible, but then there's a little bit riskier because you can get stuck. But it's turning around as a wrestling position. If they don't control the center, so this lever is easier to turn. But I would prefer, usually when I start teaching, I usually prefer rolling that way, and then I go the elbow in, and then. So what happens also when I put my back on a mat, which way I'm going to show it. So if I go here, there's no attacks here. So there's no arm bars, there's no nothing. I can control. I don't want to be flat, so either this way, this is a frame I can choose. So there are benefits of using this elbow in. This is kind of dangerous because I have arm bars and stuff, they can isolate that arm. So you have elbow in and you have that. They're both kind of good. This kind of controls the upper body, they can't change the grip so well. And this controls the hip, and if they can't get to the top, go top. And then I control the distance and everything is good. But if they give me the seatbelt, put it back. And if they want to get on top, so this is, go, better. This is also very, very good control. And elbow is still here, but they can't, again, fight it. If I would be something like this, then, having overhooks, so there's benefits of playing with both. If you go other side, yeah, so there's reasons to go there. Your back is on a mat. Usually people change here for chokes and all those things, with a gi. I guess we can show it. Mount happens also here. So what I don't recommend being flat. And now the transition is one kind of hawking to other hawking. So I have to control the grip. I guess, even with the choke, I will show it. Go. So this happens. So that is necessary for side choke not to happen. So what the side choke is, I guess here, go side choke, and this, yeah? And you have that kind of basic tradition. It is kind of hard to do. I guess you have to change for a side choke while I'm putting my back on a mat, because later switching kind of is hard, but still possible. So one more time. So what I want you to have is, so hooks. So this is always active, so it's not gonna be like, so if they go for a choke, even, so this is out, yeah? Without this arm, because they need this arm behind my head, something like this. But if I control that attachment, now I'm out. I actually can, there's a game here, I can do this. I wouldn't reach without this, because again, the arm is kind of maybe in danger, but here. And now I can, if I escape the hooks, I can play. So there's a weird games. We'll see if I show them DVDs. This DVD, because maybe it's experimental phase, but it's inspired by wrestlers. So you can reach, if they're close enough, you can reach the head. And it helps you to stay on top. But that key is not to stay flat and to go to hawking, and then even the chokes go off. So in another second clip after this, we will show you the gi also, so stay tuned. Now with the gi. So just to give you I don't know, heads up, but there is. if I would be already in this position, I would go already that way. If the choke is already on, it's kind of weird idea to turn back. So there has to be a precursor for me to put the back on a mat. So it has to be with the. So right now maybe I would do it, and the key is if I just gonna put my back on a mat without the turning phase, it's gonna be annoying. So when I'm doing this, there's a gap. So there's no gap here, but there's a gap. So it's gonna be again the hawking, go. And the key is also to get this out, because this is underhook. So he puts the weight on, and now there's an underhook. So it has to be shrimped out. So you have a click, and then you can have inside, or whatever you want to do. One more time. So you have to escape. You have to shrimp until, or circle until you have that arm is also out. And it's not actually that hard. So let's say we cleared the hooks, and now I guess the arm bar, side choke, everything is there. And there's a gap, and now elbow is out. Yeah, I click it, and then we'll see what happens. I also expect to have a side control bottom, maybe just arms here, and he has a top. Who cares? I just escaped. You can go escape the really dangerous choke. So what happens next is if I get side control bottom, I'm happy. Don't expect right away like close guard or open guard, because you're kind of tired also after that, I guess, if somebody choked you. So having side control bottom just as a relaxation position, why not? So again, if you want to know more about it, we talked about it extensively on the Running Man and Baby Rich DVD. That was last one we released. So a lot of ideas how to stay safe are there. So always think about not having unrealistic expectations when you finish. And definitely there has to be a position where you can turn in, because let's say it could happen like this, that I would be this way anyway, and now he go for a choke. Now, why not? I can escape, I can go in. So it has to be, angle has to be already there for me to do that. Otherwise, it's kind of dangerous to. I do it, but for you to get good at this, you will choke yourself. There's a section of movement you will choke yourself, and you really have to know what you're doing. So definitely, you have to understand that this way or that way, which is underhook, which is not. So be careful with that. And also, if you get choked, so you have to monitor maybe the position, the angle, all those things are wrong. So you're actually thinking you're doing the right thing, but you get the wrong result. So because it's not a symmetrical grip, and going this way, that way beginning is confusing when somebody actually is choking you. So keep that in mind and be calm. Another theory, another position is I mainly, always when I teach stuff, I mainly concentrate on a leg, but because it's easier to get, but there's benefits of getting the upper body. So there's benefits of controlling the upper body. It actually limits what they can do, and there's a section of this, just controlling, and as a shoulder in, and you do this, it's kind of it's kind of, for them it's really weak side. And this is also, I skip the legs because I said I control the legs because I don't want them to shrimp. But for shrimping, they shrimp. See what happens? Go back. Shrimp. It's super weird. So the legs are more free, but I get upper body. And now the key would be, I want to put my head on a mat, and I just stack them, and then I wait. And I have to get this underhook back. So what I do if I get this, that's kind of bad. It helps to be more accurate position. Now head to the mat and tripod. Now I lift my other leg. Usually they can hook also this. They can do this. So I have to maybe, go away eventually. So if I get a better position, if I have a better stack, I might pass because I have upper body. It can happen also here. So I put the head on a mat. And if I get this close and underhook, so I have to see where the knees are, maybe the underhook here. So it all depends. It's not going to be that easy because they baby bridge in the end, and it's going to be a fight. And again, I guess, people want me to show how would you pass, but I don't have those expectations. So that's usually I have a hard time explaining, because I expect him to actually be good. So if I put his back on a mat, I expect actually him to push my head, to baby bridge, to just push me right over the hips, get his guard back, and I have top position. I expect maybe one mistake out of him and not like a double. And if it happens, happens, but I don't expect it. So that's why I don't like to show certain techniques, because that's already like a situational, I call it also in Estonia situational comedy a little bit, but so keep that in mind. If I don't show you, you're ending what you would like, because it's all open, do whatever you want. So one more time. So this, I usually go for this. If you watch the way I roll, whatever, I usually do this. The video from what all this got inspired was this. This is not good. This is not holding them back off for choke. This is not that. It seems to be top of that. And now if they do it, it's actually way more weaker. And now if I do this, yeah, they can, if they're really long arms, they can try triangle their arms. But it's kind of hard to do, because if you let them go really high, they can start to squeeze. But if you keep your elbow here, nothing bad will happen. And now it's about how to get this shoulder back. So stack and be calm and wait, because as soon as they adjust, you escape. So I do this, and now if they squeeze, and just have to wait. And this, if they get the hook in, usually they get it. Now shoulder, and now be maybe underhook, and maybe flatten them out, because if they're sideways, they're more prone of generating certain tilts like sweeps. And if you lose the tension of this arm, it can be trapped, and you get, can be swept. So making him neutral, in a way making him go flat, could be a better idea. And this arm thing, you can reach it if you get better at this. So if they get a seat belt, it's right away. There's no chokes, there's no stuff, but I find I have harder time to teach it. I usually start with the legs, and then I do stuff. And then, you can go here. So when we talked about stuff, we had this frame, we had that frame, we have this. Now this is free. When you're this is free. So now I can turn, I can control. So always I have an idea that one frame is more static, another is for options. And if I want to change, then one is static, other is for options. So it's possible, but I don't recommend having two arms as optional arms, because that means you have to be really good. You can train it against lower skilled people. Why not? Develop that skill, but they can switch their grips without you kind of noticing. And that's very, very dangerous. So your skill level has to be there. I usually like to control at least one grip. And if I'm really feeling that I'm better, then I develop that skill when I just defend stuff like this, and I have two posts. So other way I would lose one post. So there's benefits, trade-offs. So definitely this two post thing is more riskier. So keep that in mind. It's, let's say, under construction. So it's the system, it's ready enough for the presentation, but there's, I guess, a lot of stuff to discover, and maybe not only by me. So it's, other minds will take it further. So. And now, very, very important topic is the body triangle. Everybody asks about that all the time. So I think EBI, when it was still on, was a good experiment for body triangles. And then what we saw there, I still advocate, was, give Ron a little bit slack about body triangling me right now, because it's not that easy. So what we saw usually is like, people doing this and going that way, shrimping out, and it kind of opens the body triangle. So this is, I'm not saying common knowledge, but I guess it's there. So there's no point of talking about it. I would just add, do it with my postures, a little bit homework for you. So it's not going to be flat and, so you're not going to choke well. But I will give you another version. Yes, without the hook at the moment. So if I'm totally like this, stay straight towards his chest, squeeze. So you can feel I start to talk a little bit differently. So body triangle. But when I'm doing this, for him right now, because I'm a little bit wider in the midsection, so the squeeze. Squeeze is also harder. Even if he squeezes, it doesn't affect me that much. And if I just do this, if he squeezes, you feel I have to little bit, little bit talk differently. So weird part is if I just do this posture that I advocate, yeah, he starts to squeeze the hip bone a bit, and all the squeezing parts kind of go away. Squeeze. So, and it can be done with those positions. Yeah, here, here, and here. This is actually the worst. If I would be, even thinner, this is the worst for him. Yeah, but I cannot do this seatbelt. I cannot do this here. So if I give him upper body, this is a bad position. This, and now I'm done. So I don't have any, let's say, ideas at the moment. It's kind of fun to admit that if I give him everything, then it's a pin, and he has a hard time, easier time. So my goal would be how do I fight the wrists, and then I will posture up again. I turn my body to running man. I go to my elbow or straight arm. So then this body triangle starts to work less and less. So, and also, so what happens usually is I usually use this, yeah, because I have to get hooks. So I look for those. Not this, yeah. He can underhook also me and kind of don't like it. So I do this. Ideally, if I get the toe hold pressure, sometimes people are very stubborn here. So I do this, and now the elbow point goes to the shin, and there's a lever there, and it will open. And now it's if I'm very lucky, I do this. Now we're back here, yeah. And all of this happens while my body is twisted, not talking to the camera, because they will pull me back. So, so this, and now it's a fight. Is about do I get the hooks? Do I get both hooks, elbow? Do I get this? What's his grip? Is he elbow, or is he fighting me also there? So I just get this. Maybe I step over. The hook is sometimes too short to get it. So then it's a small open scramble fight, because they will start to hide their legs, play around. But this is how also I've gotten some longer legs open. It's but the key is that position, because I give them a dilemma. Like I kind of like the wording of dilemma. I think that Danaher kind of talks about it, like giving them dilemma which one to take. So I like the word dilemma. So so either position, keep the position, or fight this. So they can't do both at the same time. So that's kind of what we found that works. Also, there are similar ideas. Some people push it with elbow more, whatever, the same position. But for me, I will show you next clip also with somebody with longer legs, I hope. And so I have to have that my position. So stay tuned. So we needed somebody with longer legs. So at the moment, so body triangle, what I wanted to show you, because usually they will hide stuff, yeah? Either this or just some people just some people just hide the leg behind. And in some cases, I can also do this. I straight, and then I here. And then the body triangle is kind of off, and usually people adjust. It's not it's not for him the worst, but I need that angle. Yeah, and now I can work. So hide the leg. And also, even with him, squeeze. This is kind of, and if I do this, squeeze, and if you feel like, even he feels like it's not the same squeeze. Go squeeze. It's manageable, yeah? And now the key is, if I'm here, they will fight, and I look for this. And even if they get the underhook, chokes and stuff, my position has to be there. And now this happens. And now I can release and go back. So it is a deeper trouble, because if people have geese and stuff, but if I untangle the legs, there's a scrambling, I'm not saying chance in a bad way, because clearly I don't want to be like this, go rear naked choke. So this happens, yeah? Then it's kind of dangerous, because I have to have my chin and my curved back and my rounded shoulders. Yeah, go. And now I'm waiting, and then, you know, I'm back here. So it is, like I said, it is deeper trouble. So you have to have confidence in your position, and so in a right away beginning playing with this. And also you have to know that why you end up there, why your escaping position, how the body triangle happened actually, why it's there. So, but if it happens because they're getting better hiding the legs, you have to know. So I would say this is my best answer for it that we have discovered. It helped me, even with some longer legged guys, they can't hide it. And definitely, one more time I want to advocate this, that sometimes I can fish for that leg, even if they hide it, like this way. Yeah, so I need that ankle. And even if they hide it, if I have my position, I can usually reach. And it's gonna be that fight. It might take long because they're like resisting, but anytime they adjust, they do something that I can feel I can bend. And then it is a pickle to get out, so to speak. And that's why the position is very powerful if you give them upper body and lower body. So in some case you have to like admit that maybe the game is over. So this is my answer to this, and hope it helps you, because the body triangle is an annoying thing to deal with. Another section what I want to talk about is kind of panda-ish. So what it is this. So also without the hooks maybe in the beginning. So this was, we were playing around with this, I have no clue why. And also there's a really, I guess, famous video of Henry Gracie and Korean Zombie doing this version. I don't know if Henry has played this more, or he used more like elbows out in position. We have found that I would prefer this, so maybe they play this version also. So this is also, I got, you know, reaffirmed or something that, oh, it's actually fun because, you know, they're playing around, and we kept studying this. So my idea would be, I don't grab the heels because some people actually can step and, you know, go over. So I kind of toe hold him. That would be ideal. I pull, I kind of bend, and same idea how I broke the body triangle. So now I go forward. And even if they want to pull me back, their hips are kind of disconnected. So if they're close, kind of, this is, I feel they can grab me way better. So if I disconnect them, so if they try to go body lock, whatever, pull, so this is weaker. And they go to my face soon, but we'll talk about it. So idea is that if I'm very stiff here, so I try to do this. And now if one hook is down, then it's, you know, world is your oyster, I guess. So what I usually prefer is a click, arm on a mat, and then you just turn around, and then you're off. Just one has to be like, and depends what they do. I can, you know, go here, I can put hooks. So it's all the options are there. Also, if I want, I can feed, and if something happens, I can start to climb and do those things. With one out, I can, you know, go. Don't grab over before the leg is strapped, because otherwise you end up in a triangle. So even if you slide, so this goes over first, and now it's safe to grab. And then you turn around and go. So you have those sliding options. With a seat belt, if you do this, actually when you have this, it should be hard to get underhooks. Go. That's the point. It's just very, very tight. And now I'm gonna choose also going forward, maybe going to turtle or something like this, or just doing this and staying in panda and defending and accepting some other defensive position. Why not? If they have a seat belt. So now this is harder to have a, you know, elbow and a shin bone, but I still want to do this. And right away, what I need is, I don't want to be kind of like a straightforward. I want an angle, because if they pull me back, so that's a very strong move. So, but if I really have this, and now the key is, how do I feed my legs? If they pull, if I just go here, and there's a chance for them to slip the body triangle, yeah? So that's bad. So the trick is, if I even get up here, so if I go, I need those things. And now my body has to be here if they pull, and then I have to get to my position. I know where my next trench is. So when they play, right, I'm doing this, pull, and I'm always forward. It's kind of hard to go pull, and here, and then hooks, and then go back. That's kind of bad. So wait. So I would like to go circle, kind of always kind of staying forward, kind of doing this. So even if they pull, seatbelts. Oh wait, so seatbelts pull. So it's always uncomfortable for them. They're hanging on to me. And now I'm figuring out the hooks, doing this, where I land, maybe head on a mat, maybe this, maybe I land on high. So I use this a lot, and in some cases even I do it opposite. I do opposite if I'm here, and then I do this. And I go up, pull. Because they can only pull me kind of back there. I don't want to fall there. That's where they're strong. So if I go there, that's already a guard. So I usually go up. Sometimes, yes, usually sometimes go up. And now they have the same position. Go pull. And now if I, have to manage this, and now it's a fun game to have because they're losing, and usually they regrip and do stuff. So one more time. So, and why I go there? Because I want height. I want to be a higher man. So go, let's play. So here, and this, when I go panda, this shoulder starts to slip so also. And then, those things. And now I start to fight. I don't go under. That's a triangle. Yeah. So really have to be smart. How do I go? I need a click. I can have toes. I can have this. And now fight a little bit. It's kind of pointless because they're hanging on. So, and the only reason, I guess, for me, it's very important because we got the scrambling rules from Gary Collett, our wrestling god, that we have 3 rules to win a scramble. Is higher man wins. Higher means your head has to be higher than theirs. I also call it like a drowning man reflex, that you always go up. So we want to go to the surface first. So always like this. So it might not be scientifically correct that a drowning man does this, but I kind of call it, you want to always get to the surface first to breathe, so to speak. Then put their weight on their hands and attack the legs. So those are the 3 scrambling rules of wrestling, how they stay on top. So here also, the idea is that if they grab, I want to be a higher man. So here, I can decide to stand up, but there is sometimes the feeling is they're not really coming after me. Yeah. So we will show also this part when they're coming after me. But at the moment they're here, they're maybe pulling. Go pull. And now and now I'm out. So this is pushing, and already they're sliding off, and now I'm going, and it's a very annoying feeling. And even if they decide to let go, get on top, maybe pull this up, I can go other side, and maybe have inverts and stuff. So it's a very, very necessary direction for them to deal with, because they have to get better at dealing with people that will stack in, put their backs on the mat, and they have to deal with people that are going away. And people that go away, it's really weird because they have to pull all the time. It's not like if I only put my back on a mat, they have to kind of stay and just avoid that. But I'm always trying to go away. Even as a drill, you can do this. What I usually do to people, so it goes well with the panda idea, that, okay, you made mistakes and you're here. So the key is I control the wrist, and as soon as I can, I sit up, either this way or sideways, and then go to panda. So let's say, without the body triangle at the moment. So let's say we're here, and he decides to go to like a choke, go. And right away I'm doing, and then I have to switch, yeah? Because from here I get pulled back because my leg is there and I can't turn my shoulders enough. So doing this step is necessary. So let's play again. So you can do those kind of games. Everything is super wrong. You have to connect, this wrist. This is kind of bad because they can still choke. Go. If you grab the finger, go choke. It's kind of hard. And you have this, go. And then, going forward, do it again. Going just forward is a little bit, it's like a little bit bump is there. So going, let's play. And going sideways and then going forward. Clearing and then going away. it's a little bit easier. So also sometimes I do this, that if somebody get me in a bad position, I control the wrists, because they have to then get the geese and all those things, where things are not too bad. And then I wait for them. I can also, I guess, stack. It's always possible if they adjust. I put my back on a mat. But today we're more talking about this centerpiece of us that kind of going up. So for other people, this direction is very surprising, that, oh, you're going to go away. And this is also inspired by one of the Estonian wrestlers, Alatom, Greco-Roman guy, that we had MMA camp. And he kept just running away from me. He kind of sat up, and then I was behind, and he just ran away. I was a brown belt back then. I was super annoyed by that. It was in Tartu City. And I was like, that's kind of wrong, but it's so effective. And I had to hold on to him all the time, pulling him back. It's very tiring, because he's also kind of monster. He's like 90 kilos and, wrestlers. So this going away direction gave me like a really interesting idea. And then in wrestling, when you see it all the time, in collegiate wrestling. So you have to play with that. So I don't emphasize in this DVD much putting our back on a mat, but it's always there. But I'm trying to advocate more this direction also, so you will have both. So keep that in mind also. A couple more things about Panda. Without hooks, without underhooks. So there's the idea of, that kind of movement, that if I'm forward, this is the head, so I slide down. And so if possible, this is very annoying position. And this is, so if you have seen Saulo DVDs, I think this clip is also on YouTube, that you clear and then you go to the same side where the hook is, and then elbow in, and then you can turn around or whatever you want to do. You can just do this, turn around. So if you play with Panda, think about this, that if they pull you, even with a seatbelt, I think it's a not so developed game here in this system to pull. This is also a very annoying thing, because I can control the legs and get this, and now I have to manage seatbelt, and I have to go under. So I even think Silver Fox, I think they did a Firas Zahabi with a section, like a long video when he also explained that kind of idea, and you can get, I think, more details there. So I don't use it myself that much. I emphasize more turning and getting this, but definitely even going under with a seatbelt. And just because here there's a choking distance also, but if you get here and if you start to get under, it's super annoying. And then those clicks when you control the ankles and stuff. So I myself, I haven't played with that much with those things, because you also expose yourself to arm bars and stuff if you don't get double unders. But definitely it's free information there in YouTube. You can check it out and add that kind of game. So being forward, going there, going under, and also going away. So those directions are necessary. So they, as an attacker, they have a best exposure to all the direction, and they have to be managing that. And kind of when I talk about the escapes, I think it's what I'm actually want to also say. This is kind of not my system, but all this back escape stuff. If somebody is good at, this is only way for them to get really good. So if your defense is higher, then they have to adapt. So that's why also the defense, I'm not saying has to come first, but has to be there. Otherwise, people get super bored. Oh, my back attacks are good. Have you tested against somebody with a really good back escapes? And that's the best way to know that you really, really are good. So keep that in mind. So have all those pieces together, and then train, and you do a service to your gym, so to speak.